this scourge of drug addiction in America will stop. 116 Americans die from an opioid-related overdose. Defeating this epidemic will require the commitment of every state, local, and federal agency. Failure is not an option.
President Trump very vocal about America's opioid problem. Now the Surgeon General adding to the fight, and this is rare, issuing a national advisory urging the public to carry a drug that stops overdoses. It's called Naloxone. The medication can be used as an injection or nasal spray, and it kicks into gear immediately to reverse an overdose. Listen.
We have a person dying every 12.5 minutes from an opioid overdose. And what's shocking is that over half of these overdoses are occurring at home. That means we can't rely on 911. We can't rely on firefighters and policemen to save these lives. We need to arm Americans and folks who are around those individuals who are at risk.
Dr. Marc Siegel joins me now. He is a professor of medicine at New York University's Langone Medical Center and a Fox News contributor. Naloxone is the drug. And let's just remind our viewers how significant this is. For the Surgeon General to come out and issue an advisory, this hasn't happened in 30 years.
Absolutely, Julia. And he's doing it because we're seeing so many deaths from opioids. You know, he wants to target the 2 million people out there that are addicts and everyone around them, families, friends that know them, because we're seeing over 40,000 deaths per year from opioids. And you know why? Mostly because of a drug called fentanyl. Illicit fentanyl is so powerful that it stops breathing. Heroin is laced with it. Fentanyl itself was a prescription drug, but again, chemists are making it illegally. It kills people from stopping breathing. If you find somebody on the street and they're not breathing, and you see pinpoint pupils, and you see no signs of respiration whatsoever, you take a pulse. Now, I want people out there to not just know how to use this. This is what he's talking about, the Surgeon General. This is Narcan nasal spray, Naloxone nasal spray. It's very simple to use.
Right.
You take your thumb like this, you literally squeeze it up into your nose, and if the person hasn't had opioids, it's not going to cause a problem. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt you. It has no side effects. But if they have taken opioids, and that's why they're laid out, they'll respond. You may have to give it again in 2 minutes because the opioid kicks back in. You may have to use the antidote more than once.
This is incredible because there were over 4,000 deaths that were related to opioid abuse last year. So something needs to be done, and we commend the president for doing that. The Surgeon General addressed, again, just how easy it is for the average person to get their hands on these lethal drugs. I want to play that for a moment, and then we talk about how serious this crisis really is.
In 49 out of 50 states, there's a standing order so bystanders can carry naloxone. I taught my niece Carly how to do it this morning. So anyone can save a life. Anyone can be a hero.
So now, more easy than it is to get your hands on opioids, it is to get a fix. Is this going to save lives?
It's called a hot shot, by the way, and it is so important. And with him coming out with an advisory, yes, he just said 49 states you can get it over the counter. Now, at NYU Langone, where I work, we give it out to every opioid addict who leaves the emergency room after an overdose for their family to use, for them to use. But now it's going to be more available in pharmacies.
When?
In pharmacies. After this, it's going to be readily available. Okay. I would encourage all pharmacy chains out there to carry it. And again, you can get it over the counter. Everyone who knows an opioid addict should absolutely have one of these kits. It's so easy to use. And everyone else out there, learn CPR, learn how to use those defibrillators on the wall, and learn how to use this.
Okay.
No downside.
Now, I just want to ask you regarding a possible downside, and this is just me sort of looking at both sides of this, because does this offer almost a safety net for those who abuse, are abusive of opioids, okay? Because they know that there's a fix.
I don't see it that way. That criticism has come out. I don't see it that way because there's a drug called Suboxone that's longer acting, that includes the naloxone in it, that literally is medically assisted therapy that decreases the addiction. All addicts should be on that. Okay. So I want them to have this life-saving option.
It's like an EpiPen.
It's like an EpiPen.
For opioid addicts.
And it's like a serpent. This disease gets a grip of your soul. It's so hard to get rid of it. We have to be sensitive and compassionate. We want victims of opioid abuse to have the ability to save their lives and everyone around them.
And
this is a lifesaver.
Ones, for sure. All right, Dr. Marc Siegel, always great to see you.
Great to see you, Julie.
This is a great idea, and I'm glad
you.
to see that they're pushing it.